not only going to be a welcome speech. For some years now, I've been mindful about my daily dietary choices. It actually started with the goal of losing weight, then to support my fitness goals. But then slowly, my priorities have changed. I became more environmentally cautious and realized that avoiding meat is the single most effective way to reduce my environmental impact. I started limiting my personal consumption of meat by eating more fish and by introducing plant-based days to my calendar. I started being flexitarian. And then on one of those plant-based Mondays, I got stuck at work and I asked my mother to pick up my daughters at school. And when I came later to pick them up, they had just finished dinner. Meatballs. My mother offered me to eat the leftovers, or else she would probably serve them to cats. Now, should I reduce the meat consumption, or should I prevent the food being wasted? Of course, I used common sense and decided to eat the meat. But I also realized that narrow focused diets can sometimes work against their own reason for existence. Studies actually show that we make about 200 food decisions every day. Is it even possible to make 200 good dietary decisions every day? Good for the planet, good for the society we live in, good for our physical and mental health, respectful towards local food traditions, global food trends. So to help us take decisions, people invented diets with simple rules. Eat this, don't eat that. And these same diets are not just rules. They've become ideologies. Tell me what you eat and I'll tell you who you are. Well, there's nothing wrong with that, in my opinion. But the problem is that most of these ideologies limit choices to health-related goals. What should I eat to be as healthy as possible, to lose weight, to gain muscle? There are diets, well, actually there is one diet that takes into account the planetary health as well. But I haven't come across a diet that tells us to respect the farmer or the chef that made our food. You know, food systems are highly, highly complex. The consumer is often misled by the multitude of the new revolutionary diets and by the marketing messages of the profit-driven multinational food industry. Also, the social pressure of modern media idealizes the physical appearance of the individual, which is reflected in poor attitudes towards eating, often even leading to eating disorders. It's estimated that in Europe only, there's 20 million people suffering from eating disorders. And studies also show that simple family meals and the positive food culture could prevent those disorders. Every meal is an opportunity to socialize, to spend time with your friends, your children, your family, to look into people's eyes, not screens. Existing diets and dietary recommendations are simply not holistic in their approach to our relationship with food. So, when we started developing the idea of a new dietary initiative that encourages more informed decisions, it seemed like a great idea. But can we, people standing behind the European Food Summit, be relevant to tell you what's the best idea? We've decided to invite scientists, environmentalists, medical dietitians, psychotherapists dealing with eating disorders, ethics professors, economists, researchers, public health experts, consumer protection experts, and we gave them a simple task. Tell us what are the basic behavioral guidelines to make dietary choices that are good for the planet, respectful and responsible towards all people, good for my well-being, and good for my body. And it was a very exciting process. And along this process, we've learned that there is a common ground, or should we call it a common sense, that most of the participating experts can agree with. We've also learned that, unfortunately, the time has come to put our self-interest behind and put the planetary health above all. But we've also learned that food has to bring us joy and happiness. Meals are a chance to socialize or an opportunity to create a kinder, more respectful, and more accepting relationship with yourself. And most of all, we've learned that to take good dietary decisions, we have to make sensible and informed decisions. We have to use common sense. And even the good old common sense can get outdated quickly in the world where new scientific discovery, technological progress, and development are advancing with the speed of light. We've learned that it's necessary to learn and to be open-minded about food. We need the new, science-based common sense. So I am very proud that today I can finally tell you about the initiative, a manifesto created by the European Food Summit, the new Common-Sensitarian Diet Manifesto, which you can also find on your chairs. Common-Sensitarian diet is not a diet that restricts in what we can and cannot eat. It's a personal moral commitment and an appeal for the climate, environmental, social, economical, and political changes that are needed to restore sustainable food systems. It is a mindset that helps us develop a positive attitude towards food and makes us aware of the moral implications of our food choices. It's also a guide for informed food choices for individuals, farmers, chefs, businesses, and policymakers that will benefit the climate, the natural environment, and the human health. The new Common-Sensitarian diet is respectful, responsible, and inclusive. It's actually satisfying because it's good for your body, your soul, and our planet. And it's respectful to all stakeholders in the food supply chain. So, how do you become a Common-Sensitarian? In its essence, it's extremely simple. Buy, eat, and make food that is good for the planet, respectful and responsible towards all people, good for your well-being, and good for your body. Maybe, or most probably, if you're in this room, you already are a Common-Sensitarian. And we only gave a name to the food ideology you already follow. We are more than aware that this manifesto may be opening more questions than closing. But we have to start somewhere. And why don't you start right where you are right now? Are you a chef? Use your creativity to show that sustainable food can be exciting and delicious. Are you a foodie, not willing to give up on your steak? Start by replacing that steak from the other side of the world by the local one. Maybe skip it every now and then. Are you a vegan? Be more Common-Sensitarian by replacing those air-transported fruits and vegetables with the local ones. Are you lonely? Start by putting away that phone over lunch and ask a person sitting next to you about how he or she is doing. Are you a politician? Use your power to make the policies that will benefit the planetary health. You know, everyone can make food choices better. But no matter where you are right now or who you are, there is something we must all necessarily do. We must reverse the climate change, and one of the most effective ways to do it is by shifting towards more sustainable diets. So, dear guests, learn and be open-minded about the impact of food and use common sense. Thank you very much.